Hello and welcome to the very comprehensive course on Vedic Maths. In this particular sequence of sessions, which is this particular unit, we will be discussing with you the Sutra number 8, which is like the fourth Sutra after 5 being linear, 6 being, again 6 and 7 being regarding two variables, and 8 being regarding quadratic, biquadratic and cubic. So this Sutra talks about the quadratic equations of the cubic equations and the biquadratic equations and everything that in detail about that. We will also be discussing what is the translation of this particular sutra. It means by completion or by non-completion, and how we use it we'll be discussing in this particular sequence of sessions with you. In quadratic equation, we will be discussing what is the general form of a quadratic equation, what is one general form of the quadratic equation, and what is the formula, Sridharachary's formula of solving the quadratic equations. We will also be determining or telling you what is D, which means b square minus 4ac means for a quadratic equation. This is the parameter which determines whether the roots would be real, would be imaginary, or what. We'll be having two roots, we'll be having a single root, or we'll be having imaginary roots. Everything in detail would be discussed in this particular sequence of sessions for you. Okay. If this is a scenario, then we'll be having two roots, right? And what are the roots? Everything in detail we'll be discussing. Okay. We will also discussing two root scenario, something like this, one root scenario, something like this, and no root scenario, something like this. Okay. Two roots, one roots, and no root. That means no real roots. That means both the roots would be imaginary in nature. We will also be discussing the point of inflection with you, which means in quadratic equation there can be two graphs, one like this and the other like this. If this is a graph, then earlier the points start diminishing and there is a point where the value is minimum, the value of y is minimum, and after which the value of y starts increasing. What is that point of inflection? The coordinates of that would also be discussed with you. We will also be discussing with you, if the value of a is negative, then what happens? Then the initial values of y starts increasing. This point of inflection would then mean the maximum value, and after that the values start diminishing. This all things are mentioned in sutra number 8 for you. Okay, and this is the example of the same thing. We will also be discussing the second general form of a quadratic equation, and through which we will be finding the sum of the roots and the product of the roots for you. This is an example of a biquadratic equation and how we can find the sum of the roots, the product of the roots, and the sum of the roots with 2 pairs and 3 pairs also. Similarly, similar to this, we will also be discussing the cubic equation formula, or actually the cubic equation general root formula, which is something like x cube minus alpha plus beta plus gamma x square plus alpha beta beta gamma and so on. The coefficient, this becomes the coefficient of x plus alpha beta and gamma is equals to y. This forms the cubic equation general form. This is something we'll be discussing in detail with you. Okay, and also obviously about the biquadratic equation. I have not pinpointed in this particular sequence of sessions, but there is a d here as well, which is b square minus 2ac. If the value of b square minus 2ac is greater than 0, that means all the three roots would be real. If it is less than 0, then that means one root would still be real and two roots would be imaginary in nature. Why so? Because imaginary roots always come in pair. Okay, these all things are covered in a single sutra. So just imagine how beautiful and how strong this particular unit would be for you. Okay, so that would be all for this particular introduction. Just keep practicing and solve every question. Keep a pen and paper ready with you. Note down everything that we'll be discussing in this particular sutra, so that you turn out to be a different individual as far as algebra is concerned, with the help of sutra number 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so start learning and make yourself math genius with the power of Vedic maths. Thank you guys.